Y'all are familiar with the phrase, the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, I believe that's a mindset that you have, right? Because most people would agree with that. They do believe that if they had the right job or a different job, things would be better. If they had more money, things would be better. If they had a different partner, things would be better. If so and so did that, you get the point. Yada yada yada, right? The grass always
Uh-huh.
looks like it's greener on the other side. So it's completely a mentality, right? I was introduced to something that just, oh, I loved it. I loved it. And I can't wait to share it. But you got to wait. You got to wait for the surprise. We're going to keep you in a state of
Oh
mystery here,
boy.
right? The first thing to understand is, and I want to talk about this from a perspective of relationships, because I think people get hung up on this a lot in their lives in general, believing that the grass is always greener on the other side. But especially with their relationships, they tend to look at the person they're with, and a lot of times they'll only see the bad sides after you get through that initial phase of the honeymoon phase or
Honeymoon
whatever,
phase.
right? Or after a few
Right.
years, you guys have kids, you do all the exciting things, you get married and everything, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I've been married to this guy or this girl for 10 years and things are boring, right? So
Right.
we're both guilty of this. We both are like, oh man, if I only had that really smoking hot young chick, I should leave my wife for her. Or girls do the same thing, like, my husband's not that hot anymore, or my boyfriend, he's not, who I thought he was. I want someone else. And honestly, I do have to say, I believe women are more guilty of that than men, simply because of the word hypergamy, which relates more to women than it does men. Um, I and I say that if you don't know what hypergamy is, go look it up. This video is not about that, but look it up if you don't know what it is. But I do believe that women can't opt out of hypergamy. Men, some of them might be hypergamous, but it's not as common as it is with women. So I think this applies to them a little more, although men are just as guilty of the whole grass is greener on the other side thing as women are. But here's where this is going, right? So here's the thing to think about. The grass does always seem like it's greener on the other side. And it totally is a mindset thing, because the truth is, the grass is actually greenest where you water it. And I'm going to say that again, a little louder for the people in the back and the people who let that one roll through their ears and didn't catch that. The grass is greenest where you water it. That's the mindset you need to adopt. And that can have a negative meaning too. Sure, if you water something that's bad, you bet it'll grow. But if you're looking at a different job, or you wish you had more money, or you wish you had a different partner, sometimes you need to step back and you need to look at at what you have, right? Because living in the present is the goal. It's always great to plan for the future and to make the future better than what the present is. But the fact of the matter is, you're in the present, and you need to face reality and accept it for what it is. And not just accept it, but water the grass where you're at. That's how the grass becomes greener in the future, is when you water it where you're at. Did you have any thoughts you want to share, Dan?
Oh yeah. First of all, I love it. And I totally agree. And it goes back to responsibility too. It's you have control over your life. And you have control over your happiness. And if you put work into it, if you put work into your relationship, if you put work into your job, you'll get the results. You just have to put the time and effort into it. Right. It's easy to, it's easy to want to take a short route. It looks
Yeah.
appealing, right? That's why they say, it looks like the grass is greener on the other side. It looks appealing because it's easy, right? It's just a split second. For example, if you know, break off your relationship and go into another relationship because it looks greener. It's appealing, it's easy, but true happiness actually comes from you having to put effort into it, being responsible for where
Yeah.
you are right now, and that's wholesome.
Great word.
It's kind of like that other video we made on the myth of the one. It's like, hey, you don't have control over, or you don't. There's no one for you. Like, there may be a few that you connect with, a few people that you connect with that that you would be have more chemistry in a relationship, but that's upon you to take that action, to make that happen, and to water the grass surrounding your relationship and
Absolutely.
to feed it and to work on it.
There's two big messages here, guys. And the first one is in pertinence to life in general and to your life. And I think the second one is definitely in pertinence to relationships, right? And so the first one is, yes, the grass always looks greener somewhere else when you're looking somewhere else. So stop looking somewhere else. Look at the piece of land you're standing on. Take care of it. Have some pride for it. Be grateful that you're standing on a piece of land that's your own, right? In other words, be grateful that you're alive in the present moment and in the condition you are, because you could be in a worse place, right? That's simple humility, gratitude, and appreciation. And that you like Daniel said, it's wholesome to put effort into something, right? So if you're gonna be where you are right now in the present, standing where you are, wherever you are in life, just take that opportunity at a minimum to be grateful for it. But at more than that, to water it, right? To make the piece of land you're on better than it is, right? Make the area of your life that you're in better than it is. Do something to benefit the moment you're in. Put some effort into it. And that'll feel good. You'll feel good about the action. You'll feel good about yourself. You'll have a little more love towards yourself. You'll be able to give a little more love towards others. That's the first meaning, right? Stop looking at everything else for just a minute and just look at where you're standing. Appreciate what you're standing on. Water the grass you're on. Stop looking at other people's yards, right? The second one, which we both kind of touched on, is the relationship one, right? And it closely relates, but I still think it's worth separating. I think it's very important to distinguish it. Again, I got to say, I think it's a little more difficult for women, and I'll put it in perspective. One, guys aren't as emotional. We hide our emotions, and we're taught to hide our emotions. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's just typical. Men are not as emotional, and they don't react as emotionally. We react to a different manner. You can go study psychology if you don't agree with that. But the fact of the matter is this, right? If you're a woman and you see a guy surrounded by women, you want to know what he's got. You're curious, right? And that's something called pre-selection. You can look that up too. If you're a guy and you see a woman surrounded by men, you are not wondering what he's got. You don't care. You're like, or what she's got, I should say. You're like, no thanks, too many dudes around that girl, not interested. That's a man's reaction. A woman's reaction when she sees a man encompassed by women, she wants to know what he's got. That's hypergamy. That's basic psychology and probably biology too of a woman playing into that, right? And that's why it's important to understand the grass is greener thing, right? Because especially when it comes to relationships and interpersonal relationships and all that stuff related to that, you need to look at building your own relationship, because people of both genders get really caught up in looking at, oh my gosh, that guy is more jacked than my boyfriend, or he's got more money, or whatever. It's like, but your relationship will actually grow if you stop focusing your attention on other things and start focusing your attention on your relationship. And that goes for men and women, and if you're looking at your relationship and saying, well, it's not growing because my husband's an alcoholic, well, yeah, that would be a red flag to probably leave your relationship. And that's an area he needs to work on. Same works if you flip the dynamic the other way, but
right.
Yeah.
Whatever you focus on increases. If you're focusing on, if you're focusing on the green grass, that's gonna, that's gonna keep you off of making progress where you're at.
Yeah. If you're looking
And
at someone else's yard, you're not looking at your own yard.
and think about this. It's, you know, it looks like you want to be somewhere else, but you gotta believe that this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. And even if
It's
it's
your
not where
job
you're
to
supposed
let
to
it
be,
shape you.
yeah, you need to bring your mindset back to where you are and say, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. Things will change if they must. I'm going to work on right here, right now. I'm going to work on myself right here, right now, and do everything in my power to bring about, to continue to foster virtue and communication and all those other quality things that people want in life, right? Continue to make that moment better, if it's with someone else or if it's just in pertinence to your own life, your own possessions, and your own characteristics. And that's then if necessary, the universe will move you on to a different place.
That's right. All right, guys. Anything else, Andrew?
No, that's all. That's all. The grass is greenest where you water it. Stop looking at other people's lawns. Work on your own lawn, work on your own life, work on your own relationships. And life will put you where you're meant to be.